Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Today we're going to make 2 envelopes using the We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board. Hello everyone. I wanted to show you how I make envelopes using my 123 punch board for bulky cards. So if I have a card like this Book of Tricks easel style card, it's quite bulky, you can see there. The front of this is in the Book of Tricks style of a card, but it pops up just like an easel card. But this can be quite bulky, so if I try and put this into an ordinary 5x7 envelope, it won't fit very well. So that's where my punch board comes in handy. So you can see here it gives you all the measurements we need. Now my card is 5x7, but I'm doing a 5.5 by 7.5 envelope. So it needs to be cut at 10.5 inches squared, and then it needs to be at the 4.5 inch mark on the punch guide. So we'll extend the leg of our punch board, and this gives us nice long score lines, which is fabulous if you have a bigger piece of paper or card. Comes with the scoring tool, and I have my paper here all cut out and ready to go. So as I said, it's 10.5 inches square, this piece of paper, and I'm butting the left hand side of my paper up to the 4.5 inch mark, and you can see it has punch guide just up there. So we're going to punch it down, and then I'm going to take the score tool and I'm going to score along box score line B. So once I have that done, I'm going to rotate it not once but 2 times. Again, I'm going to push my paper up, I'm going to bring it to the 4.5 inches, I'm going to punch down and then score right down to the end. Once I've that done, I'm now going to rotate my paper 1 time, and this time I'm going to use the score line on the paper in order to put the next score line in. So I have my score line here where it says box score line A, and then I'm going to score along box score line B. So I scored along and punched down. Then I'm going to rotate my paper again once, twice, and again I'm going to bring up my score line and then punch down and then score. And now we have the basic shape for our envelope. You can round off the corners on the outside edges, but I'll do that later on in our next card. But I'm quite happy to not round off those edges. So we'll move our punch board now out of the way and we'll assemble our envelope. So the first thing we need to do is burnish the score lines that we have on our paper. So I'm going to fold up each little corner and press down on the fold lines. I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. Lovely, that's all 4 sides done. Now the next thing we need to do is to make this envelope have enough room for our card. We need to put our card inside the envelope and then fold over our panels. So you can see here that this is the shape the envelope is going to have. And just by holding my hand here, you can see it gives lots of room. The envelope isn't folded down flat. It gives the room for the bulk of our card. Lovely. So the next thing I need to do is put tape on each of these panels and then fold this one over on top. So let's do that. I have some strong tape that I'm going to use, and I'm going to use a 1/8 inch tape. This is it here. I know that this is going to stick down and it's going to hold my envelope closed. So I'm going to put it on this side here, and I've sped this up a little bit because otherwise the video will take too long, but I'm going to do it on both sides. And once I've that done, I'm going to take off the release tape, and I like to use the tweezers for doing this because sometimes this blue liner and red liner tape can be quite finicky and hard to get off. And I did kind of struggle with this side. The other one came off no problem. There we go, we've got it. Okay, so we have our tape down. I'm going to put my card back in my envelope. I'm going to bring over the two side panels and hold them there. It's a little bit fiddly, but you'll get it. I'm trying to not get in the way of the camera, but you can see there, this panel just folded over on top. Once we've that done, take out your card and then press down on where we had our tape. So I'm going to do that on the right hand side and the left hand side. And I will show you from the front so that you'll see what I'm doing. But this, you can press down like this, but I don't want to get rid of the bulge that's in the envelope. So there you go, our envelope is open. It's like an open mouth, ready to receive our card. And it just slides right in like that, no problem. So once we have the tape on this piece, that will then stick down and hold our envelope. And you can see here, there's room for the bulk, which is what we want. So the next thing I need to do is put some tape on the flap to close over our envelope once our card is in there. Now I have this white double-sided tape, and this release paper is much easier to get off this tape, so that's why I'm using that. In case I'm not giving the card, someone might, I family generally ask for cards from me, and so I want to make sure they'll be able to take the release paper off the top. So there we go, that's our bulky envelope or bubble envelope, whatever you want to call it, all made, and it's just your standard envelope with room for a bulky card. Now for this one, we're going to do a box envelope. So again, we have our 10 by 10, 10.5 by 10.5 paper. It's at the 4.5 mark. We're going to punch and score. Now there's a second score line there, and it's envelope score line B, and that's what we're going along. This is going to give us our box edge. So we've rotated it now 2 times. The left hand side is back up again at the 4.5. We're going to punch down, and then we're going to score down along score line A and score line B. And there's our 2 score lines. Now we're going to rotate it 1 time. So how do you know which score line now to go along? Well, you see here on the right where our little punched out bit is. We want to make sure that's at that first score line. So you can see there, and our score line on our paper is matching up with our envelope score groove. So we're going to punch down, score along the first score line, score along the second score line. Then we're going to rotate our paper once, twice, and this is our last side we need to do. And again, we're making sure the score line is in there. Score down on one and score down on the second, and punch. I forgot to punch. There we go. So this is the basic framework for our box envelope. Now you can see there is a little area here that you can slip in your paper, and you can round off the edges for your envelope. But whether it's rounded off or pointy, I'm not really bothered. That doesn't bother me. Okay, so we have our envelope here. Now all we need to do is burnish those score lines. So I'm going to fold over the paper and rub down, making sure we have our edges nicely burnished. So there's all 4 sides done. And you can see when you bring in the 2 on the side and the 1 from the bottom, you can see that there's about a 1 centimeter opening there in the card. So now all we need to do is put some of our tape on our envelope so that it's ready to be used. And it's easy to see here, you can see where my thumb is to give you an idea of how thick your tape needs to be. I wouldn't recommend using a liquid glue. I would always recommend using a double-sided tape when you're making your envelopes. I think you just get a better finish on your envelopes when you use a tape. Sometimes if you use a glue, it can kind of ooze out and you can end up with glue where you don't want it. So you can see here now I'm putting some tape down on the left hand side, and I'm going to do the same on the right hand side. Brilliant. And now all I need to do is take the release paper off the tape. Now we're ready to stick our envelope together. So I'm going to do the left hand side first. I want to make sure that the side of the card is nice and straight. I don't want it kind of bowing out. I want to keep the edges lined up nicely. And you can see at the corners, the corner will meet up nicely there under my thumb. I'm just going to flip it over so I can add some pressure, and then I'm going to do the same again on the right hand side. I'm going to make sure that the side there on the right is nice and straight, that it meets down at the bottom right hand corner, and then press it down and press down on that tape. And you can see there now our envelope is more or less finished. This is the depth that we have in it, and it's going to fit our card in there nicely. Even though our card, the bulk is a bit deeper than the 1 centimeter, it still allows to slide in there nicely and fit. Perfect. So all we need now is to put some tape on the envelope so that when we go to seal our envelope, we have something there to stick it down. So again, I'm going to use my double-sided tape on that. And there we go, that's our second envelope finished and ready to use on any bulky card that you might make. So we have this card here, which is what I like to call a bubble envelope. I don't know why, it's got room. I do really like this box style one though. I think this gives a really good finish to a bulky card. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to press the like button. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing, and if not, you might consider subscribing and pressing on the bell icon there. So until next time, bye bye for now.